Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see young faces, energetic, smiling faces early in the morning. I stand here before you today not just as Winnie Singh, the chairperson, co-founder of my organization, Maitri, but I stand here as a woman who has seen challenges, converted them into strength and transformation. So my life story, which is silence to strength. I would love to have a response from all of you, from some of you. What do you see when you see me? A woman, a strong woman, a leader, somebody who can just take on the world just like that, without any fear, without any loss of words or anything like that. But the truth is very contrary to that. I have lived a life which was full of trials and tribulations, full of tears, but yes, I converted them into learnings. And when I converted them into learnings, that is what gave me the strength to move on and to make, my decision was to make a difference in this world. To start my story, let me start right from the beginning. So my father was a very loving man, I would say that. He was an extremely good father. He was a good husband, but he was a very domineering husband. It bordered, at times, I felt on abuse because I remember a lot of loud shouting from him, voices from him. So that kind of did impact me in certain ways, but at the same time, my father gave us everything that a man in those times, I would say even these days, may not be able to encourage their children. So we were encouraged, all the three of us, that we had to, look at education as a career. We had the independence in those days, which I find a lot of times these days the parents would rather that the child is accompanied by someone elder in the family. Having said that, I still can't forget the fear in my mother's eyes when my father was home. I can't forget that she could not make choices. So life is a lot of conditioning for women in India, and I think everywhere else in the world too. It's not just in India. And we learn from our mother's behavior, and that is what takes us forward into our new life that we take on. So I did my schooling, I went to college, and I finished my graduation. And my father said, well, time to get married. So I said, well, I would like to work. So he said, yes, you should, but I think it'll be good that you get married and then you can do whatever you want to thereafter, because we'll make sure that you are already educated enough to be doing something. That is something which did bother me because I was not ready for marriage. And I resisted, I protested, but nobody heard me. It was as simple as that you are getting married and that's it. So since there was no point in arguing or protesting, so unhappily or happily you would say, one said, okay. And ours were the times when, the movies were all about the women singing songs, and there was a lot of romance, and there was a lot of joy in everybody's life when they were getting married. So I also brought, for myself, I believed that, yes, my marriage was going to be the same way. And I fantasized in my mind how romantic it is going to be, how full of fun and everything it is going to be, because that's what I believed marriage was all supposed to be. I never knew there was something called responsibility. And along with that, nobody teaches women, girls, that what you need to look for is respect from your partner. And that is the most important ingredient in our lives. If we don't have that, I assure you, life is not very happy anywhere. So I got married, and right from day one, life was not very good. So my husband would be short-tempered, and he would kind of get angry at any small little thing. And after some time, he would say sorry too. But there was no Google to tell me, like what I was going through. And there was no information. And we were not encouraged to talk about our personal matters. And somehow, since my mother, I guess, had gone through whatever life with my father, she also did not encourage that you can tell me anytime that you have some issue or your problems, come to me. So life continued. I thought millions of times that I should just leave. Anytime that I felt my dignity was compromised, anytime I felt I was, spoken to very rudely, it did not make sense to me that why I was in that marriage. But I could not even raise my voice because my husband was very short-tempered. 2 daughters were born, beautiful girls, and life continued. 17 years later, God was very kind to me, and one fine day, my husband just walked out on us. And everyone is surprised when, at that time when they saw it and when I tell them, it was a time I should have been fearing, because I didn't even know where my next meal was going to come from, how I was going to look after 2 teenage daughters who were in their board years. But I felt this was like the moment of my life. I was happy, I was joyous, I was jumping literally with joy, I would say. No smile could be enough for me. So that was something which changed my life that day. And when that happened, I decided that day that I was going to stand up for myself, and I was going to make a life for myself, and a life which will be of dignity and respect, and a life where I will be able to make a difference. I found myself a job with the government of India, and I used to do a lot of voiceovers. I would do documentaries. I would work 14 to 16 hours a day because I wanted to make good money to make sure that my children had the best. So my children went to US to study. They did well. They went on to lead their own lives. And love came into my life at the age of 50. And this time it was love. It was not forced on me. I took my own sweet time. I took 4 years to say yes. And the gentleman that my present husband is, his name is General Bhupinder Singh, he was there to support me for everything that I wanted to do. He told me, he said, just remember that life is for once, and I am here by your side to support you with whatever you desire to do. And my first thing that started was, because I was now married in the army, and my husband was leading the force. So I recognized something very early on in that phase of my life, that there were women whose husbands had HIV, and the men, when I would speak to them and ask them that would they inform their wives that they have HIV, they said no. So you said, and would you have relationship with them? They said yes. So when you tried to counsel them and said that, she hasn't done anything, why would you be, subjecting her to this? So they said she has no right to live. She's married to me, and if I die, she dies. And if a child is born to you, his answer was, well, he can die too. So that was something which really, really bothered me. And I think after my own fiasco of a marriage, I just felt that no woman should have to go through any of this. So I started my work, and it was a victim to survivor program. So we encouraged women to come and speak to us. We did not say that you have to break your marriage. We said you need to work it out, but your husband also has to be part of it. It has to be teamwork. Both of you need to work at it together, and the husband has to respect you. So it was a long process, but we did make a difference in some ways, that the men did no longer say they would not inform their wives. And I thought that was a big success story as far as I was concerned. And with that story, I got introduced to another story, and that was the widows of Vrindavan. I went to Vrindavan for some work, and I had never been there before. And, we have all heard of these stories of widows of Vrindavan, their shaved heads, and all of that kind of stuff. But when you see them face to face, I mean, when I saw them in 2008, it was a very, very, very sorry situation for them. So we had requested Ramakrishna Mission at that point of time, because we were working with them, that could we give something to X number of women. So when the X number of women, when we reached there were XYZ number of women. And the ones who had not been given a number, who could share, get the whatever we were giving them, about 2 kgs of rations. That's all. The women, I feel sorry to say, they literally were struggling to say that I have to get it. And with that, they were ready to pull each other's hair out, because each one wanted just that little 2 kilos of ration. And that just showed what poverty can do to you. And not just poverty. With that came it impacted their health so much that these women, they were so frail that most of them were bent at least about 45 degrees. And none of them could stand straight. And the clothes that they were wearing, it's a half sari. In those days, there were only Bengali women who used to live in Vrindavan. And it was a true story that after the death of their husbands, their heads would be shaved, and they would be given a half sari and told to move out of the main household. Even the rich, wealthy families would not allow a woman to stay within the home. And these women, when they would come over here, if their families brought them, they would just leave them and go away on the station or the bus stop. And where if they came on their own, it was a struggle for them. So most of them come there thinking that, yes, Krishna is going to be there to take care of us. But, well, when they land up there, they realize there is no Krishna waiting for them. You have to look for your own self, you have to look for your survival then. You have to struggle and see how you can survive, So these women used to beg. And some who were lucky, they moved into the government ashrams. And the government ashram that I visited at that point of time, and where I worked for nearly 2 years, it was a story which I think nobody would like to ever see, forget about experience. Vrindavan is very, very cold in winters. And they didn't even have a wall to cover them, sideways. So it is like sheer cold draft coming all the time. And they would be covered with 2, 3 blankets, 4 blankets. They wouldn't even get up to have food. Because that's a program we started with them, that a midday meal is what we will give them to make sure that at least they have something which is going to give nutrition. But working in a government ashram was not very easy for us. And we were fortunate that at that point of time, Satyamev Jayate happened, and our NGO got featured in that. And when it got featured, we also got the benefit, because Amir Khan used to give one NGO the proceeds, from that particular, because they would do the fundraising and they would give that. So we got that, and with that we started raising more funds, and we were able to buy more land, and we made one ashram, then we made another ashram with our own money. We wanted to touch as many lives as we could and give them a life of dignity and respect. They had lost their identity. Identity, when I say identity of a woman, identity of a mother, they had lost all of that. They did not know what it feels to be a woman. And mother is, of course, very far. So today we are working with more than 450 women, 200 who stay with us and 250 who come every day to have everything. They're part of everything except that they don't have shelter. And these are the things which I think make all the difference in this life. And I would just say that all of us, we should pledge that we will make a difference to someone or the other in our lives, whichever way, whichever time of our life. Thank you very much.